Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Alex from Rants! And for the first time in history, we actually have some questions.
Oh.
You can't read it. You can't read it. So if you can't see me, you can't read it. But they're there. I promise you that
We didn't make them
There's
up.
actual words.
We didn't pay people to make them up.
And so I tweeted people. This is how it worked. I tweeted people. They tweeted me back. I kept tweeting them.
Is that how Twitter works?
That's how Twitter works.
Oh my
God.
What are we missing out on?
And I kept harassing them until I got some people to respond to me. And that's how I got questions. I didn't make up these questions myself and make up these random names. I really got real people, I think. Unless they're bots. Unless they're sent from Terminator. Who knows? But,
oh no.
But yeah. Well, when I say harass, I use that term loosely. I more so just asked them all day and sat on Twitter for 10 hours straight. Well, not 10 hours,
Yeah,
but
that
maybe.
sounds like our friendship.
What's that?
Huh?
So anyways, we actually got questions for the first time in Rants history. We got questions.
Alright.
So
Bring 'em on.
these are Hell in a Cell questions. And our first question is from Tina. I don't know where she's from, but it's a random Tina. It's
Hi,
from
Tina.
somewhere
Hi,
USA.
Tina.
Hi, Tina.
She might be from a different country, who knows, but I'm thinking she's probably from somewhere in the USA. So shout out to Tina.
She's from the Earth. That's all we know.
She's from planet Earth, I think.
She's
So
not an alien.
shout out to Tina. Thanks for your question.
Ooh.
Okay, here she writes, here's my question. Why are these idiots making stupid decisions for the WWE? LOL. Maybe that was a little harsh. No, I don't think it was harsh. I think there's a legitimate question. I think the majority of fans out there feel your frustration. Anyone want to answer this question?
Yeah, I'll go for it. I think what she's getting at is why is WWE very complacent in their storyline booking and how they choose, what wrestlers get pushes and whatnot. My theory has been ever since WCW and ECW went under that WWE doesn't have any true competition to compete with, so they're kind of lax in what stories they push and what wrestlers they use or don't use. Really, there's no motivation to put their best product out there because they have the market right now. TNA, it's been around for a while, so that's a positive. It started kind of generating a little bit of momentum back in like 07, 08. That's when its popularity was really big, and a lot of people even were calling in on WWE talk shows talking about TNA. So, but they've kind of been on a slide lately. There's been a lot of financial issues, a lot of cuts being made in TNA and WWE now. But my thought is there's no competition. There's no reason to try give your 100% because you already have the fans. You're already making so much money. You don't have to fight for ratings. You don't have to fight for talent. You're not worried about losing someone to another company. You are the wrestling industry right now. So they don't need to work as hard. And I think that's probably what frustrates us fans because a lot of us came into being fans of the WWE when the Attitude Era was going on, when they were trying their hardest because they were competing against WCW. So we're missing that competition factor. If TNA can somehow find their way into some huge money and bring in some huge names in the wrestling business, maybe steal some people from WWE and be a formidable, competitive opponent, then you might start seeing more consistency. But right now, WWE's got it. It's the only wrestling company out there. And again, I know there's TNA. I know there's Ring of Honor. But Ring of Honor is limited. It's a very big indie thing.
TNA Global Force wrestler Jeff Jarrett's new promotion.
But that just started though, and who knows how that's going to go because it's basically just going to be another indie. It's going to be another Ring of Honor that TNA and WWE are going to pluck talent from. So it's tough because WWE has the market on wrestling, and they have no competition now. Could that change down the line? Sure. Maybe TNA, again, gets more money, gets more sponsorship, and brings in some big names, but Until then, it's WWE. You know, they're winning the race right now.
Good points. Good
We
points.
still don't even know if TNA's could even have a network deal since Spike's planning on dropping them. So we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still up for negotiation. I think if Spike sees that TNA is making the money, then they're gonna keep them. They'll just renegotiate. I mean, that's a tactic that happens in sports and in wrestling, and along with other things. But I can't imagine TNA not having a home for Impact. They'll be somewhere. If it's not Spike, they'll be on some national, channel that we'll all get to see. So they got too much money not to be. So they just don't have enough to compete with WWE.
Yeah, I completely agree. They've gone complacent. There needs to be a rise of another wrestling company, because if there isn't, then the WWE doesn't have any motivation to do things differently and to try harder and put forth more effort.
Yeah.
Because they're still raking in the money, even though they're losing subscribers. An aspect of their WWE network, they're falling short of that goal. I don't know how many subscribers they wanted to
They
get
wanted
specifically,
a lot more than they have.
but they fell way short of that goal. And the thing is that they would probably get a lot more subscribers if they did different things.
Mhm.
More often than not, I'm not saying all the time, but the majority of the time, it's way too predictable, and they keep giving the same wrestlers, for the most part, the spotlight. So I agree. That's my thinking on it. How about you, Jess?
I agree with you guys. They aren't integrating their talent that they have very well. They're pushing a lot of people that are either already over or not over enough that no one cares about anymore. And it's just the really, really talented, good wrestlers aren't out there, or they're stripping them away of their right to be in the spotlight.
I agree.
Yeah.
They're really badly misusing their talent
Yeah, and
for the most part.
that's been a classic WWE problem since the 2000s, when WCW went under, when ECW went under. It was a problem they've had, for a long time. And then every once in a while they'll get it right, like they did with Daniel Bryan, in the past year. But something outside of their own, circumstances happened to him, so he's no longer up there because he's injured.
Yeah.
But right now you have the opportunity to make someone like Dean Ambrose, like Seth Rollins, like Dolph Ziggler, like Cesaro, to be your next kind of top superstars, but yet the focus is on John Cena, Randy Orton, and Brock Lesnar, and that kind of hurts their overall product.
So good answers, guys. I think we can all agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Kimmy writes, another tweeter. Thanks for your question, Kimmy, by the way, wherever you're from.
Earth.
Kimmy from USA or Earth or some other planet.
Mars, Jupiter, Saturn.
Thanks for the question. Do you think if/when Randy turns, they will team him up with Ambrose and work against Rollins and the Authority?
That's a really
It's an
good
interesting question.
See, that's
a scenario I didn't think of.
Yeah, and that's a interesting story that could come from it. As far as I know, what I've read online, again, you take it with a grain of salt. After like the first 2 weeks of November, Randy Orton's supposed to have some time off. I don't know if he's injured or if he's just taking a break or something. So you're gonna have Orton off TV for a little bit if it's true. So that makes me think his match at Hell in a Cell will end one way, and then something will happen with the Authority. So who knows? That could be something that happens where he kind of just has enough of the Authority's BS and starts attacking Seth. I think instead of teaming up with Ambrose, though, because really Ambrose doesn't need a teammate, and neither does Orton. I think he just goes after Rollins, just having a Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton feud, which I think would be really good for Seth Rollins, because that's a new face that he hasn't feuded with before. And then, imagine the matches. I think, not that Orton's like the greatest wrestler ever, but I think him and Seth would mesh pretty well, wrestling-wise, and you could have some entertaining story, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's an interesting question. It is possible, but when you look at Ambrose with Cena, they couldn't get on the same page, and they're both faces.
Yeah.
So
It's the character differences between them.
yeah. So if Orton turned face, I could see him and Ambrose possibly being in a tag team match together on the same team, but not necessarily be on the same page.
Right. Yeah.
So it's an interesting question. Good question. Anyone have thoughts on that? Anyone else?
I just think that Randy Orton needs to get pushed a little more because he was in the main event spot not too long ago. I mean, as much as I don't like Orton, I'd like to see him get the title again. Feud with Rollins if Rollins cashes in on him and just go from there. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a new change of pace for him to team up with someone new or have a rivalry with someone new.
But
instead of
even if he doesn't team up with someone, it would be great seeing Orton go against the Authority. I think that could be really interesting.
Yeah, you could get some of those kind of classic Orton versus Triple H things, good moments like we had a few years ago. There's a big rivalry between those two, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, that ended up in some crazy moments on TV. Triple H going to Orton's house and destroying it.
Yeah,
And
I remember that.
And when it was Orton, I believe he either kicked or RKO'd Stephanie. I think RKO'd.
RKO and then kissed her.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
right.
crazy.
Yeah, so you get stuff like that if Orton's against Triple H or a group associated with Triple H. So
The face turn's going to happen soon, and I love those gifts. RKO out of nowhere.
Yes.
I mean, the WWE has to capitalize on that. I think.
and they like 2 weeks after
They have to
it
speed
started,
up.
it's
His face
transcending
turn.
not just wrestling.
Yeah,
but
it even
sports
made
and
it on
everywhere.
SportsCenter and stuff.
Really?
Like that. Yeah, because a soccer player
That's
scored
hilarious.
a goal and ended up doing that as a celebration with one of his teammates. So it was really funny.
So I think the WWE needs to speed up the face turn and capitalize on the RKO nowhere gifts because people are really getting into that.
Yeah.
Now they're doing more than just RKOs. I don't know. They're doing Suchi music out of nowhere.
Oh yeah, there's a
Stars
whole
out
thing.
of nowhere.
Yeah, there's a whole compilation. I have to
That's-
show you the video.
That's hilarious.
And it's like there's JBL and Stone Cold and Goldberg. It's hilarious.
Team 3D. Out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
So yeah, good question, Kimmy. Thanks for the question. Any last thoughts, or we pretty much covered it?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So our last question is from John Ritland from Seattle, Washington. I actually knew where someone was from.
Yes.
From the championship team, the Seahawks.
Oh,
but I don't think
hey,
they'll be
it's
champ this year.
It's your favorite team.
Her favorite team.
Woo!
No, she's a 49ers fan. But
Sorry, John Ritland.
I don't think the Seahawks are going to win this year, but they still make it to the playoffs. But anyways, thanks, John Ritland. And how he spells his name is Jonn, so that's an interesting spelling. So moving on. Any chance Lesnar makes an appearance at the end of the Cena/Orton match at Hell in a Cell?
You would hope, because this is going to be a pay-per-view where you don't see the title, and that kind of pisses me off as a fan. You don't have your title as the main event on a pay-per-view that you spend, either your subscription fee to the network, or if you're ordering it through your cable satellite company, almost $60, and you don't get a title match. That's ridiculous. So he's not supposed to be around until December, supposedly. So if he shows up, I'm sure the people are like, oh, hey, look, it's Brock Lesnar. Awesome. No, not awesome, because the guy just basically took the title hostage, and what's he doing? How is he making the WWE better by being champion and not on TV? At least when The Rock was champion and he wasn't on TV, he was doing appearances. So you saw him on talk shows, you saw him
That's true.
in interviews holding the belt. So it's like, Rock, title belt, wrestling. It could grab fans like that, or at least that's the thought, that's how it happened. But what's Lesnar doing?
I'll tell you what he's doing if you've seen the meme, he's sitting on the couch watching WWE, eating popcorn,
Probably.
like Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose is actually there. But
Yeah.
anyways, if you see that meme, he's just sitting on the couch.
Yeah, you know, it wouldn't surprise me. If he's just not doing
It's like,
anything.
what's he gonna do at the end of the pay-per-view?
His couch
He
champion.
sees who wins. All he's gonna do is come out and like hold up the title, like, "Oh, you want this?"
Big deal. You get paid how much just to stand on stage
For 5 seconds?
hold up a title belt and walk off?
Maybe
Like,
say 1 or 2 phrases.
He doesn't
No.
even talk.
yeah, it'll be Paul Heyman talking.
Yeah, I don't get how they can justify having a champion that's never there.
Yeah, well, that's the WWE logic.
Initially, I was for him getting the belt because it was something different. Even though I wasn't a big fan of Lesnar, Cena was finally losing it. But now my mind has changed on that because he's not there.
Guys came around.
You were
to
right.
finally-
You were right.
Yeah, a lot of people were pissed. I was pissed. I was like, really? Come on.
So
I would have wanted to see him inside Hell in a Cell. That would have been awesome.
So good question. He better make an appearance at the very least. If he does, it will probably be for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, come out, hold the belt, maybe attack whoever the winner of the Cena and Orton matches, and that's it.
He may not even be there though.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, if he's there, he's there. If he's not, it's not. I'm just gonna try to enjoy what good matches there are gonna be. And there's a pretty good amount of matches that could really kind of steal the spotlight of that pay-per-view, but we'll get into that.
It should have been Cena and Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell, and then whoever lost that match, you could see like Lesnar getting mad and F5 and Cena, and then all of a sudden, here comes Seth cashing in on whoever.
Yeah,
That would have been cool.
But it's not gonna happen.
so unless they got something up their sleeves, which you always gotta kind of think WWE does surprise you sometimes.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while, like you want to not give them credit and be like, well, they're just doing the same shit. They're just, you know, spitting out the same storylines over and over again. And then all of a sudden, something like out of nowhere happens. Taker losing at WrestleMania.
Okay,
Perfect.
out of nowhere.
Do it to the Randy Orton fan of the group when you should be doing it to us.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Thanks for all your questions. Well, any last thoughts on that? I'm sorry.
Oh, good questions. Like, very thought-provoking, and we're definitely open to many more questions, and keep them in, and yeah.
Yeah,
Keep
keep
them
those
going.
questions coming. We really appreciate it. This is awesome. This is the first time we actually got some questions for our videos. Tell your friends about us. Tell your enemies. Tell your frenemies. Tell your cousins. Tell
Tell
your
your bromances.
Yeah.
tell your showmances.
Like this video, subscribe,
Tell
share it
Obama.
on Facebook or Twitter.
Call
Run and
your...
tell that. Run and tell that. Oh, boy.
What were you saying?
Somebody
So,
call your
like this
mama.
video, subscribe for more, share it on
Yeah.
Facebook or Twitter.
We would really appreciate it.
The
Follow me
usual.
on Twitter at AlexGold14. Follow us at Ring Rants. That's easy to remember. Ring Rants. Like our Facebook page.
And all that usual mumble.
Like my jokes. Like my dog. Like my cat. Like my.
Like my cat.
Now trending. Hashtag ring rants.
I don't have a dog or a cat, but if I had one, like them. Like them on Facebook.
Hashtag Alex's imaginary dog.
Our next video, I'm going to post a video of an hour of just cats doing stupid things.
Yes.
Like everyone else.
That would be amazing.
So, anyway, I think the Lions should actually have a cat. That'd be cool. Like,
Yeah.
Sister
they have
Abigail.
sheep, they should have cats. Anyways, moving on.
Abigail Kitty.
All right.
Hello, Kitty.
Bye.
Thanks again for
We'll
your
miss
questions. We really appreciate
We love
it.
you
Catch you later.
sometimes.